Hello, I'm Moshi. I'm making this video to tell you about 31 book series, The Adventures of Junior and Spike the Wonder Dog, loosely based upon my son Junior and his pet Spike. I also base many of the events in these books upon my experience of the past 60 years as a child and adult. I wrote and illustrated these books while incarcerated in the Arizona Department of Corrections. I converted them to digital, published them, then digitally improved them and republished them, making them much easier to read and adding brighter colors here and there without taking the essence from the original pictures. Before continuing, I'd like to tell you about what I do with the money I earn from publishing these books and all the other books that I have published available at Amazon and other electronic booksellers. I have a website, Save the Planet at All Costs, at rabidrevy.com. That's rabid like in a rabid dog, and Revy like Yiddish for rabbi. My website includes news from several mainstream sources from around the world and from environmentally concerned sources, mainstream and otherwise. I would also like to put together a website news service complete with live broadcasts, weather updates 4 times a day, and the biggest selection of environmentally concerned broadcasts and printed news available anywhere on the planet. Of course, I would need partners with money and or donors with money. I myself, whether succeeding in this endeavor or not, would like to at least put enough money together to go to places facing the greatest environmental destruction on the planet, starting with shale oil production in Canada. The pictures I have seen of the devastation to that beautiful Northland is horrendous. I would put the film on YouTube and make pictures available to anybody that would make them seen by everyone. Now back to the adventures of Junior and Spike the Wonder Dog. All 31 books of this series are available at Amazon, and 8 more, which are 4-book combinations, except for the last book, which is just 3 books. The cover of the 31 singles are enhanced versions of the original covers I illustrated in prison. The other 8 books feature a real-life picture of our 2 heroes, Junior and Spike, with Junior trying to push his tricycle up a slide. It's quite cute. The books have adventure and animals from around the world, including fish, snakes, birds, and insects. Dad and Junior tell about the animals they see and what species they belong to. Every book has learning experience and sometimes a life lesson. Today I will discuss books 1 through 10. Book 1, The Adventure Begins. Pictures 1 and 2 are Junior and Spike dressed as Superman. There is a brief story about Dad and his ranch, then meeting Junior's mother, all entirely based on my life at that period in time. The story goes from there with the birth of Junior and his mother leaving. Dad sells off his world-famous rooster so he can be a single parent, making a living building motorcycles in his garage. Junior receives a baby pit bull from Spanky the bear. The last few pages are dedicated to 6-month-old Spike, saving Junior's life from a rattlesnake and Dad rushing Spike to the veterinarian. Book 2, Junior Goes Climbing. Picture 1 and 2 are Junior and Spike dressed as Native Americans. Junior is now old enough to walk. He gets outside and goes to Dad's pole barn, then climbs on top of the roof. Spike runs for help and Dad comes to the rescue, then gives Junior a lecture. The story ends with steaks on the grill and a bedtime story about an adventurous Native American boy and his pet wolf. Book 3, Wild Dogs Attack. Pictures 1 and 2 are Junior and Spike dressed in motorcycle jackets. Junior and Spike run to the garage to find Dad working, and Dad makes breakfast while Spike howls at his singing. Dad goes back to work while Spike and Junior play. Wild dogs enter the ranch through the front gate, then attack Junior, but Spike intervenes before he's bit. Junior runs to Dad for help. Dad storms out of the garage to the rescue, and the wild dogs turn and run, chased by Spike. After steaks on the grill, Dad reads Junior and Spike a story about a boy and his dad that took a motorcycle trip across the country. Junior and the Badger, Book 4. First two pictures are Junior and Spike wearing Abraham Lincoln top hats. Junior gets out of bed. He and Spike find Dad. Dad makes breakfast while singing, and Spike howls at his singing. Junior and Spike play while Dad works in the yard. Dad forgets to close the gate when he goes back to work in the garage. Junior goes out in the desert, closing the gate on Spike. Junior waves at all the animals, including birds, turtles, lizards, and snakes. Junior sees a badger that chases him into a tree. Spike hears his cries for help and gets Dad. They go to the rescue, and Spike chases off the badger while Dad takes Junior out of the tree. Spike and Junior play with a chew toy while Dad grills steaks. Yes, we ate a lot of steak on my ranch. That night, Dad reads Junior and Spike a book about his favorite president, Abraham Lincoln. Book 5, Spike and the Leopard. First two pictures, Spike and Junior are dressed as African warriors in leopard skins. After breakfast, they ride Big Grape, a motorcycle with a sidecar, to the zoo. They see several animals while Dad tells a story about each. A leopard escapes and Spike comes to the rescue, treeing the leopard. That night, Dad tells a story of a boy and his dog that live in the jungle. Book 6, Family Camping Trip. First picture is Junior dressed in hiking gear. Picture 2 is Spike with a water canteen around his neck. They drive Big Grape to the Beefy Bull restaurant before driving into the mountains where they go hiking. They pitch a tent and roast weenies over a campfire. Spike chases a bear out of camp, and the next day he chases a cougar away from Junior. After hiking, they pack up and go home, where Dad tells a bedtime story about a boy that didn't listen to his dad, then he and his dog got lost in the woods. Book 7, Family Fishing Trip. First two pictures are Junior and Spike dressed as lifeguards. Junior and Spike wrestle, then go find Dad. Junior and Spike want to go fishing, so they take the truck, Old Red, and pull a speedboat towards the mountains after stopping at Luby's Tacos for breakfast. They stop at a river, then go fishing. Junior falls in the river, and Spike rescues him. I did that, but I pulled myself out while my father laughed at me. They continue to a lake where they do more fishing. Junior catches a huge fish, and Dad catches a tiny fish. Spike sees a woman capsized in her kayak from a speedboat that goes too close. Spike jumps into the lake to the rescue. Dad pulls alongside with his speedboat and takes the woman to shore. Dad, Junior, and Spike have ice cream before going home. Dad tells a bedtime story about a boy and his dog that are lifeguards. Book 8, Ice Fishing with Grandpa. First two pictures are Junior and Spike dressed as Eskimos. Junior and Spike wrestle before helping Dad load Old Red. They travel towards Grandpa's in Wisconsin, stopping at a truck stop to eat. That night, Spike stops a burglar at a motel. Grandpa fixes a big turkey dinner. Then the next morning, Dad uses Grandpa's tractor to pull his ice fishing house onto the lake. This is how my father actually got his ice fishing house out there. Dad chops holes for everyone and sets up tip-ups for Junior, who fishes with Spike outside while Dad and Grandpa fish inside. Junior catches several fish by himself. Then they return to Arizona, and Dad tells a bedtime story about an Eskimo boy and his sled dog. Book 9, Search and Rescue. First two pictures are Junior and Spike dressed as hillbillies with coonskin caps. Book begins with a little girl and her dad camping in the mountains. The little girl and her little dog go hiking, then get lost. The part ranger calls Dad for help. Spike sniffs the trail, then finds a little girl and her dog. They stop and eat at the Cliffhanger restaurant before returning to the ranch, where Dad tells a bedtime story about a boy that lived in the Appalachian Mountains and his dog named Elvis. Book 10, Family Trip to Florida. First two pictures are Junior and Spike dressed as Old West gunslingers. The family goes on a trip across the country, stopping at pueblos in New Mexico, Lincoln County, where Billy the Kid became a legend, the Alamo, Cal's Cajun Cuisine, a shipyard where ships are being constructed, and an Air Force base, and the Everglades, where they go on an airboat ride before reaching the Florida Keys. They lay on an air mattress, go parasailing, visit the furthest southern point of the continental United States, and watch sunset from a dock. They drive through Texas Canyon and Arizona before reaching the ranch, where Dad grills steaks, then reads a bedtime story about Billy the Kid. All of my books can be found at Amazon and other booksellers. The author's page, Moshi, or just look for at Amazon, or just look for The Adventures of Spike and Junior, of Junior and Spike, the Wonder Dog. That should take you there. Thank you for watching this video. And don't forget, go to rabidrevy.com for the latest environmental news, along with all the other news of the day, presented once a day, usually early in the morning. Thank you.